Well, our MLS season previews continue with a closer look at the Seattle Sounders. They finished second in the Western Conference, but were knocked out of the playoffs by LAFC in the conference semifinals. They were also knocked out of the US Open Cup round of 32 by the LA Galaxy. So for Seattle, Nigel, you finished second in the West. You make it to the conference semis. But it feels like the Seattle Sounders kind of fell short. Would you consider 2023 a successful season?
I would say so. I would say that, yes, they fell short, but it's because we're so used to the high standards that they set. They are one of the, how do I call it, the staple diet of MLS. You know what you're going to get. Very similar to Cincinnati, but Seattle have been doing it for a longer period of time consistently. You know what you're going to get from Seattle. The only thing I would say this season, what's important for them is they need to get more goals. They need to score more goals. Easy said than done.
I know.
But they really need to get that striker.
Seems so simple, doesn't it?
Hardest thing to do in the football pitch, score a goal.
Score goals, they said. But they didn't score many. They only had 41 on the season. They only gave up 32, Ali. So defensively, they were fairly sound. No pun intended there.
I knew you were about to say that.
Hey, come on, that was a pretty good one, actually. I didn't see that one coming.
I'm not proud. But when you look at Jordan Morris was their leading goal scorer with 13. Where do you need to see more offensive production from Seattle?
I mean, I agree with Nigel when he said you have to have a good spine in order for your team to be successful. And I think defensively, yes, they are getting the job done. But then in the attack, you have to improve the quality of the chances that you create. And they could easily change the game. And so I think that's what they struggled with most. I completely agree last year. And if they can get a few goals and set themselves up early on and have some wins, then I think the season could be looking a lot better than it did last year.
Yeah.
I just thought about something. Go on.
No, go.
Go on, Alexis, mate.
No, you just
go on. You have the floor, mate. Go on.
I see the light bulb above your head. What happened?
Wow. Oh, you're funny. No, I was going to say, it's Brian White. And obviously he's not there.
Yeah.
But if he was at Seattle, he's the kind of
Oh,
piece
I see what you're
they
doing.
will be missing, because for how they play and the style of play, he would fit in perfectly well there.
Ring, ring.
Well, remember...
I'm just putting it out there.
Messi calls Brian White. Remember at the beginning of last season how excited we were about Jordan Morris up top?
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my God, this could be like sort of a different position for him. He doesn't have to play out on the wing and cut in. And obviously we're going to have a lot more opportunity with that now. Also, they bring in this young kid, Pedro de la Vega, $6.6 million for a youth DP. That's a very, very big ask. And I know their director of football went down to Argentina and sat with him and met with him. And, he obviously coming from Lanús.
Danny Musovski, that's an interesting one as well.
Right? You didn't expect that one.
No.
But look, 17 goals and 14 assists and 127 appearances. They're giving this kid, De La Vega, they're giving him the number 10 shirt. They're expecting him not only to facilitate, but to also score. And when you look at how they sort of produced last season, they had an XG of 55 or 54.9, but they only scored 45. So that goes to show that they were getting opportunities, they were taking good shots, they just weren't clinical enough in front of goal. Yeah. Can this kid provide that for you? It's a lot to ask of someone who's 23 years old. But
he's also
his job.
He's
yeah,
also trying to,
no heart.
Do your job, kid. Get on the pitch, do your job.
He's trying to replace Nico Ladero, who
Which
was
is
the
legend.
heartbeat of that Seattle Sounders team for a very long time. I think you also have to take into account that Raul Ruidiaz, who had been absolutely electric for them, was injured. He didn't play hardly at all last season, and so you're missing that offensive production as well.
But do you not find it weird that, well, hopefully he stays healthy this year, but I think for me, I saw Seattle at their most productive when Morris was right down the middle.
Yeah.
They were successful when he was right down the middle, and I didn't understand when they took him out wide again. I know it's not his natural position, but if it's working, keep him in the middle. And I think that's where it was. Him in the middle, I think, will make a difference. But again, if they can get that striker, that old school traditional number 9, because of their style of play, and they do like their wide play as well, getting crosses in the box, someone that can be aggressive in the air will make a big difference. And that's why I brought up that whole Brian White thing for me, someone I feel that could
No,
fit in this team.
it's a great shout. And to be honest, when I look at this projected 11, I mean, to me, this looks like a contender. I mean, the quality that's here is staggering. Albert Rusnak was a tremendous player for RSL. I would say he underperformed at the start of the season last year. He kind of came on towards the end. But I'm looking at this midfield as well. João Paulo is a guy, he was coming off an ACL injury last year. And I think this is going to be a big season for them. I feel like he could be just sort of the orchestrator in that midfield. They're going to need a big season from him. And also Christian Roldan as well.
Yeah.
He was injured. He's another guy who just kind of lives and breathes that team. He's kind of the soul of the Seattle Sounders. And I know Schmetzer rates him very, very highly.
What's his thing?
Right.
Pizza or donuts? What's his thing? Christian Roldan after every match?
Is that a thing?
I
I
hope
think it's pizza. I think it is pizza. But
I'll
it's
just say this,
Seattle
though.
Pizza, unfortunately.
Great starting 11. Worried about depth off bench. Players that can come off the bench to have an impact depending on different situations in the game. Great starting 11 if they can stay healthy, but strength in depth is a bit of a
such a
worry.
big question
If they could
mark.
duplicate last year but score more goals, I mean, which is a simple thing to say, but if they can do that, if they can find a way to do that, they're going to be an even better team.
What about, and Steph Fry as well? I mean, this guy, I keep
Timeless.
thinking, I know he is, but I keep thinking, I'm like, oh, maybe we're going to see a drop off from production of Steph Fry, but year in and year out, the guy is
The
just
only two would bet on
incredibly
it are me and
solid.
you.
Very underrated.
Boom.
Good
Very
one.
underrated.
Good one.